Following up helped me close over $3 million in a single year. And in this video, I'm gonna explain to you the strategies, tips, and everything you need in order to do the same. I've helped many closers with their follow-up strategies, including my own, and I hope that this video can help you. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Omir Block. I'm the co-founder of Remote Latinos, and over the last 3 years, we've helped over 1,000 people around the world find remote careers while helping hundreds of companies scale through people. But this video is specifically about follow-ups, nothing to do with hiring. Before I dive into the follow-up strategies, let's make it very, very clear. It is your job as the closer, as the person that is bringing in new business to the company, to close on the call. You need to do everything in your power. If the person's the right fit, they're looking to buy, they have the money, they are exactly what your company is looking for, it is your job to close that person on the call. So a couple tips before I get into the follow-up strategies is before I go through the demo, I ask the prospect if everything looks good to you, the process, the system, and the cost makes sense, would you partner with us today? Keyword, partner, not close, not, hey, would you give me money today? Would you close today? Would you partner with us today? This gives me a lot of indication of how the sales call is gonna go, because a lot of times there's a reason why they can't move forward today. It's our job to find out why. What is their objection? They don't even know what the process is. They don't know if we're worth $100,000, if it's $2, free trial. They have no idea, especially if it's a cold lead. And then after I go through the process and I explain to them everything, and I will make a video about how we do our demos, it's been a game changer for us. But after we go through our demo, before I pitch the person, I ask them, besides cost, is there any other reason you don't move forward today? Now, if they gave me a reason, I'm gonna go over that reason and ask them, besides that, is there any other reason you don't move forward today? And if they were super clear, I probably wouldn't repeat it twice. But if they weren't clear, I will repeat it. So I want to make that very clear because, again, it is your job to close the people on the call when you get a chance. Now, let's dive into the follow-up. I actually broke down the types of follow-ups, the types of people who you do follow-up with, to multifaceted people. The first type of prospect that you may want to do some sort of follow-up with, but not super aggressive, is the person that is kind of interested, very little, but they need to see more options. They're incredibly skeptical. The call didn't go perfect, or maybe they're super new. Another type of prospect is they're skeptical. They're not researching other companies, but they need to connect with another one of your prospects. They have been burnt in the past, but they're pretty interested. The next type of person is they're very interested, but they're not 100% sold because they either need to speak to someone else, they need to maybe speak to one of your clients, but clearly on the call, they express to you how interested they are, how exactly this is what they're looking for, and it just boils down to them needing a little bit more time. And then the last one is the person that just needs a couple hours to make a decision, right? Usually it's before the end of the day or maybe super early in the morning, depending on when you took the call. And those are usually the people that you want to put as much emphasis towards. So the first thing that you want to know, guys, is that not every single person is going to get the exact same outcome. What does that mean? If you treat all your sales calls the same, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Why? Because every client has different issues, different needs, different wants, different perspectives. They came from a different way. And if you just copy and paste your sales process, that's not good. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying change your entire process. Still ask the questions and still do the demo. But there are certain questions that you should ask. And there are certain things that you probably should not ask depending on the type of client you're talking to. So for this follow-up training, I want to talk about the more of the interested people, the more qualified people, the people that have the money. You should close them. Because the people that are not there, they're below the 50% close rate potential. All you want to do is you want to put them into some sort of a reactivation process and send them texts and emails either weekly or bi-weekly and make sure they get hit up. The rest of the people that are clearly interested, clearly have the money, this is exactly what they want, you want to do what I'm about to go through. After you've taken the sales call, you've done everything right, you've presented the offer, you've handled objections, but the objection came from Jim Jefferson, who was your prospect, that they need to speak to their partner. And you knew before the call that they already had partners and you've handled that objection and you tried to rebook the call, but they have no other time. He needs to do it now. He's a big part of the decision making, but he's not the ultimate decision maker, right? The first thing you want to do after the sales call is done is that you want to share your screen and you want to reschedule the call with them on this call. So whether it's ideally you do it within 24 hours, but if they need to do it in 2 days, 3 days, whatever the case is. So I'm sharing my screen and I rebook the call with them on the call. And what I tell Jim Jefferson, the prospect, is, hey, Jim, can you accept the invitation I just invited you to? Boom. And they accept the invitation. Now, here's what's important. I do not create a brand new event. I use the event that Jim already created with me and I just changed the name of it. So instead of Jim Jefferson Remote Latinos, I changed it to Jim Jefferson Touch Base. And now he's gonna still get all the automations and all the emails and text messages blast before the call to make sure that he doesn't miss the call. So the first thing you wanna do is on the call, move the prospect in front of their face, and you're committed. Once you show them that you're moving this on their calendar, they're good to go. Like, that's the first thing they need to do. So that's step one. The second thing is, after you book the call with the client accepting the following call, is you wanna set a manual event for yourself for 2 to 3 hours after the initial call to text them. Literally create an event, text Jim Jefferson. Let's say Jim Jefferson is the prospect once again. You wanna text them. And what you wanna do is you wanna go to your CRM, for instance, we use Go High Level, and I send him a text message and thanking him for his time and letting him know I look forward to our call XYZ, and leave it very simple. That's it. And what this does is, number one, it shows him that I care. This is not an automatic text. This is something that it's a personal text. But number two, I also notice if they text me back, if they are, even liking this text, a lot of times that means that they're engaging with me post the call. And what happens a lot of times is with follow-up is that there's too much time without you or the prospect talking. There's no automations, there's no triggers, you're not personally messaging, there's nothing happening. So they lose interest while they're gaining interest of another company. Because ultimately, someone comes in and gives them a better offer, someone comes in and does what you do but at a cheaper rate, they might go with them. And you don't want to lose them over something so silly that you could easily negotiate with them. You want to close them yourself so that way you can help this client with whatever services they need. So step one, you're gonna schedule the next call with the client accepting it. Step two is you're gonna thank them for their time. Now, here's the bonus with step two, is that if you are able to send a voice recording or a video message, it goes a really long way. This is something that I did when sales was my pure focus. I would send people a video of myself, literally thanking them for the time, talking about something that we may have built rapport with, and then ultimately they see that I care because I went above and beyond for them, and now they might respond to me. Because a lot of times when you're sending them messages from high level, they might think it's an automatic response. But it's better to send that than nothing. Now, again, if you want to go above and beyond, send that from your personal number, especially iPhone to iPhone. There's a feeling when we get a blue text versus a feeling when we get a green text. And the blue text, it's like more of a positive text and you might respond to it, so on and so forth. You'll definitely open it, where a green text, you might not even look at it, okay? You might think that's an automatic response. Another bonus with this is if the client was not 100% sold and what would really help them is connecting with another prospect of yours, I would definitely do that. If you have someone that you've built a personal relationship with, for instance, I have friends that use our service, I can easily connect them with one of our clients. We never really get asked for that, but if you're either new in business, maybe you only have some social proof, well, let's see if you can connect them with a person that has had success with whatever business you're running with that person. Again, goes a very long way to doing these little things that most people would not do. Really, guys, with these first two things is your ultimate goal is for the client to respond to you of some sort, right? And he might not do that, but that is your goal. Now, what happens if it's time for the call and they haven't responded to me at all? Now, if we have set the appointment for 2 or 3 days from now, I'm texting them again before the day of the appointment. What I like to say is, hey, Mr. Client, hope you're having a great day. Just want to double check. Are we on for tomorrow, May 17th, 3:30 p.m. EST, right? And I see if they answer to it, because the ultimate goal is you want to get some sort of response from them. Now, what I do is, if they do not respond, I ask them, hey, just to let you know, if you don't want to do this, it's all good, but it's blocked off on my calendar, and I want to make sure that if you want to do this, amazing. If no, no worries at all. And again, guys, I'm doing this all right now for my CRM. If they don't respond to anything I've said so far, I've said, let's say 3 or 4 messages, I asked them to confirm, still nothing has been said or responded to. Now I'm 100% going to use my iPhone. And here's how I use it. Firstly, I send them a text message that says their first name, question mark. So for instance, Jeff, Sam, Steve, question mark. I'll wait like a couple hours. If they don't respond, I text them, hey, is this first name, last name? Hey, is this Steve Smith? Hey, is this Jeff Jackson? Hey, is this whoever it is, right? And I've noticed that majority of the time, people may not respond to the first message, but almost always they respond to the hey, first name and last name. And by the way, I have tips for you guys if they don't respond for either of these. So let's say they do respond to they usually say, hey, who is this? Right? Hey, I don't have your number saved. Be like, hey, Jeff, this is Omir from Remote Latinos. We talked 2 days ago about hiring you team members. Just want to make sure, are we still on for tomorrow at 3:30 p.m.? And right here, now you caught them. Now you saw that they did not respond to what they might think is an AI, but really you're texting. But now you want to put them in a corner where they're either going to show up or they're not interested. They might say, hey man, yeah, we're totally on, just sorry, I've been super busy. Great, now you know they're most likely going to close. Or if not, let's say they don't say anything. I'll wait a little bit longer, maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, and I'll send them, hey man, no worries if you don't want to do this, totally fine. I just have this time blocked off, and we have a lot of prospects that are coming in, and I want to make sure that I have this time devoted for someone that does want to follow up and that does want to do this with us. So I call them out. The problem is most people, here's things that people don't do. First, they don't even send a text message from their phone. Secondly, they send a text message and then they forget to respond to whatever the client says because they gave you a negative response. Maybe they said, hey man, I'm actually going with a different company, thank you so much, right? Which, by the way, it's totally fine. All I want to know is why. Like, what made you want to go with someone else? So if they text me that and they say, yeah, man, I chose to go with someone else, thank you so much. Hey, Steve, thank you so much for letting me know. I'm going to remove the follow-up. Just a quick question. What was it about the company that you went with? Was it the cost, the offer, the value? Just so I can know for future reference. And if they don't respond, I will follow up. Hey, let me know when you can. Just want to put this as in my notes. If they do respond, they usually will tell you, oh, they're much cheaper. Oh, they're doing this that you don't. Oh, they offer this, that, whatever the case is. This specific training is more for people that are not responding to you guys, right? So you do the first name, you do the first name, last name. Hey, first name, last name. Everything's done through the iPhone. If you don't have an iPhone, don't worry. You can still do this from your personal, another number. As long as you have another number, that's what it's important. It's a huge bonus if you have an iPhone. And then if they don't respond to first name and then hey, first name, last name, then I say, I guess this is not first name, last name. This is, by the way, this is Omir from X. We talked a couple days ago. We have a call scheduled for this time. Let me know if you're still open to do it. Now send them 3 text messages. Here's the thing. Most people stop. I don't stop. Then I say, I don't know if I got the wrong number, and I'll send them a screenshot of their booking with me. And I'll show them, this is the number I have, this is the email. Just tell me if this is you, and if you don't want to do this, no worries at all. So now I've sent them 4 messages. And then the next 2, I'll send them memes in between, and all of this is within like 24 hours. I don't do this within like every single minute or every 30 minutes, but I do this throughout the first day. And what's important, guys, is to do this with people that are indirectly asking you to follow up with them. And what I mean by that is people that are clearly qualified, clearly wanted to do this. You had built a great rapport. You had a great sales call with them, but something happened where they're ghosting you now. And it is your job to find out why. And for me, when someone ghosts me, I think of the worst thing possible. I think that they got in a car wreck, their kid died, their mom got shot. Like, I literally think of the worst thing possible. And all I do is I just follow up with them, not aggressively, but telling them like, hey, I'm here. Let me know if everything is good. And ultimately, one of my favorite questions to ask is the question, is everything okay? So for instance, if I've sent them the first 3 messages and the 4th message like, hey, we have this time booked for a couple days from now. Just want to confirm you're still good. Is everything okay? Question mark, right? Especially if they reply to me. If they don't respond to me, you have to play it a little bit different where you still are not sure. Maybe it's the wrong number. Maybe you're texting some stranger right now. But if they did respond like, hey, who is this? It is your job to consistently build that rapport with them and build a relationship with them. The amount of people I've closed because of texting them is crazy. They now feel like they're talking to a real person. They're talking to someone that is actually there and not just a bot. Especially if you're the CEO, your co-founder, or your salesperson. It creates so much more a trustability between you guys, where most people are not doing that. They're not even following up. They're not doing any of these things that I'm telling you guys to do, to text them, how to text them, all that good stuff. So again, the question is everything okay? You want to check in on them because maybe something's not okay. Especially if you've had a great call with them, everything seemed good, check in on them, see how they're doing. The day of the call, if they have not responded to 4 or 5 text messages from you, they haven't responded to any of your CRM, you still want to call them and you still want to follow up with them. But how you do that is on the day of the call, you call them. I like to call people 3 times. Most people teach 2. I like to call them 3 times. I'll call them 3 times in the CRM. They know that, hey, this is probably CRM calling. If they don't respond, I'll send them a text message. And what I'll do is I'll move that no-show to now an hour or 2 later, or whenever I have the next availability within the next 2 hours. If that doesn't work, I'll call them again. This time I call them twice instead of 3 times. So this time I call them twice, and then I'll do it again. And my goal within that first day period is to contact them between like 7 to 10 times, only through calls. Then there's another 5 text messages in their phone, another 8 messages. So if you guys are seeing the aggressiveness, it's because number 1, it works. Number 2, they don't ignore me. Most people do not ghost us. And number 3, this is what most people don't do. So they're like, man, these people are going above and beyond you. And one other thing I love to tell them is like, Steve, prospect, if you think we're aggressive at trying to close you, you should see how aggressive we are when it comes to fulfilling you and finding you a team member, right? If I'm running a marketing agency, it's using marketing agency terms, real estate terms, right? If you think I'm just trying to do this just to get the sale, you're out of your mind because the sale is just one part of the business. We have to fulfill you. We have to get a testimonial from you. We have to get referrals from you. That's how I know you're a successful client for me. Otherwise, we failed you. And they love hearing that. This is something I learned from Layla Hermosi, and it's let prospects and clients know what you're doing. So if you're on the sales process with them still, let them know what your ultimate objective is, not just to close them, but what the ultimate goal here is, right? And most people are, again, going back to the follow-up, guys, they're not doing the follow-up. They're not being aggressive. They're not texting from their own number. They're not checking in with people. They're not asking, is everything okay? They're not moving people on their calendars. They no-show once, they move on to the next thing. And the thing is, if you have a huge sales team, millions of leads, I get it. But majority of people that are listening to this call, you probably don't have that many leads. You're probably just building a business. You want to treat every single one of your leads that are coming through your pipeline like $1 million lead. And more importantly, you want to treat the people that you had a call with, the people that you spend time with, the people you build rapport with, like $2-3 million clients, right? Which means that you have to go above and beyond. So biggest takeaways. 1, move the calendar event with the prospect on the call and make sure they accept it. 2, message them a couple hours later. 3, use your iPhone if they have not responded to build rapport and ask them if they're down, if they have any questions, concerns. And one of the things to do with the iPhone that I forgot to mention is you always want to end off with asking questions. So for instance, do you have any questions? Have you had a chance to speak to your spouse? Did you talk to the other company? You don't want to just do a statement. You want to do a question where you're expecting an answer. Now, that answer could come later today, maybe tomorrow, but you want to do it. And the thing is, a lot of these entrepreneurs, a lot of these business owners that you guys are talking to, they're busy. They don't have time. They have families, they have kids, they have people coming to visit them, they have clients to deal with. They might miss your message. They might, in 10 minutes, they might get 30 messages and boom, they miss your message. It's your job to follow up, right? With emojis, with memes, and make it pleasurable for them to actually continue talking to you, because that's the most important thing. So use your iPhone, ask is everything okay, text them, get to know them, and most importantly, once the call comes, commit to them beyond just getting the sale. Let them know that, to me, this is successful when 1, we fulfill you, 2, you give us a Google review and a testimonial, and 3, you refer us business. That right there is what every single one of your prospects wants to hear, but they never hear it because people don't follow up and they don't say the right things. So if you got value from this video, like, comment, subscribe, share it with other people. I appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.